Hello everyone, so welcome or welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me today. I thought we would do my April wrap up. I actually didn't post a March wrap up and I've debated including merging these two together. I just haven't for some reason. I don't know why, I just decided against it. So if you're bothered about what I read in March, let me know. But I feel like we're now in May, I'm just like it's been and done. Anyway, so in April I read 9 books, which is my best month yet, so well done to me, round of applause, thank you, thank you, thank you. So there were a lot of new releases and I have just recently uploaded, it should be probably the last video, I've recently uploaded a reading new releases vlog, and that goes into depth on all my thoughts and opinions. So anything that I've sort of spoken about in a reading vlog, I'm not going to include too much depth in my just explaining and the summary of what I felt and everything, because there's a whole video dedicated to that. So if you are interested in finding out my thoughts and opinions on the new releases from April, please watch that video. It will be somewhere on my page, maybe I've linked it somewhere, I don't know, but yeah, definitely check that out. So the first video, I don't know what is wrong with me today. I've tried to film loads of videos today and I just keep getting everything said wrong. So keep saying everything wrong, what am I about? Anyway, the first book I read in April was Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. This is obviously one that was in my new releases. You can see it is not heavily tabbed, I've definitely tabbed one of her books more than this, but we've got quite a few tabs in here because I did really enjoy this book. I rated this one, I believe, a 4.5, which is obviously a very high rating, and this one basically follows Xavier and Samantha, I believe. Yeah. And they basically meet, have this amazing first date, and then he finds out she's actually moving back to California to go and look after her mum because her mum has dementia. So if you are worried about anything like that or trigger warnings, I'd definitely check them because it is quite hard hitting and going through their story. But basically it's they're forced apart and they have to try work long distance, and there's loads of other things that happen in between it. He's a vet and he's just opened his own practice. He can't really up and leave and move with her. She needs to be at home for family. All her family have kind of been there for her mum and she's been living away and she feels really guilty. So she's like, no, I need to come home. I need to be there for my family. So it's them trying to work through that. But it is just such a lovely story, and especially their first date is so funny. I was literally laughing out loud. And just Abby Jimenez's writing, I'm always here for it. I absolutely love it, and I really had a good time with this one. There are quite a few quotes, a few of her quotes that I've tabbed. One of them says, "It's ironic how important things make the world smaller, how a kiss with someone you love can make you feel like you're alone with them, like you're in a snow globe with just the two of you when you're really just outside baggage claim at a busy international airport." And I'm going to read some, hopefully I won't read anything that's spoilery. And there's another one that says, "It's weird knowing what's going to be in your end of life montage as it's happening, but I already knew when my life flashed before my eyes the best parts of it were going to be about her." It's just, yeah, so cute. Oh, and this one, I'll only do one more. When he says to her, "I thought about you every minute, even when I wasn't thinking about you, I was." But yeah, I just love her writing, and just even looking back through these quotes. I won't say that just because I don't want to. It's just so sweet. This is, and just one more, the attention to detail from Xavier. It says, "She poured creamer into her coffee. She liked the blue vanilla ones. I made a mental note." So anyway, if you haven't already read Abby Jimenez's latest book, please read it because it is wonderful. And then the next book I read was, oh my god, one of my favourite reads from this month. Absolutely devoured it. And it is, of course, The Conditions of Will by Jessa Hastings. I adore Jessa Hastings. I love her writing style. I literally can't fault her writing. Everything she writes, I love. And just the way she writes things, and she just writes so poetically. I just loved it so much, and I loved this one so much. I still think about it. I kind of want to reread it because I'm just obsessed with it. I love this quote as well, and I think to myself, wouldn't it be so lovely if we viewed ourselves through the same lens as the people who love us? There are just so many cute. So many cute moments. I'm not going to read too many. It says, you know how there's a good kind of hurting, like rubbing out a cramp or great sex sometimes. Being near him hurts me all over my body. I think it's because he's what all the songs are singing about. Every single fucking one of them, they're singing about him. Anyway, I actually haven't told you anything about this book, sorry. The minute I had it back in my hands, I was like, realised how much I love it. But this basically follows Georgia, and she's from like a very rich family. I think they live in South Carolina or somewhere around there, but long story short, she never really got on with any of her family apart from her brother Oliver, who is gay, and her and Oliver have both been sort of like shunned from their family since growing up. Something quite horrific happened with Georgia when she was 17 or 18, and off the back of that, she gets shipped to London. I think she then studies at Cambridge University, which she studies behavioural psychology, and she then gets a call basically to say her dad's passed away, she needs to come back for the funeral. So she's back, she's with all her family, but since coming back she's obviously been studying behavioural psychology, and she can read people extremely well. It is so interesting being in her point of view because she notices everything, like the slight up, like down or upturn of your lip, the crease between your eyebrows, like the way you squint, like she reads people. And just being in her point of view, you are only in her point of view the whole of this book, but being in her point of view when things are happening, there's a lot of secrets within her family, a lot of things that are hidden and people don't want to know, and you're seeing it from her point of view, and she's speaking to them and she'll notice like, oh, I noticed like a slight like crease in his eye or something, like he's telling a lie, or like, it's so interesting. And the way Jess has written it, like, I'm obsessed. I now want to go and study behavioural psychology. I've genuinely bought a book that's called How to Read People Like a Book because I found it so fascinating and it was just so interesting. And then you've also got our male main character, who is Sam Penny. Love him. Jessa Hastings writes The Best Men, and he is actually her brother Oliver's AA sponsor, and the way they meet is quite funny. Like, Georgia thinks he's Oliver's boyfriend because he's really attractive, and she's like, there's no way, he's straight. So she's like, goes over and is like flirting with him, like joking around with him, and then she realises it's not her boyfriend's brother, it's his AA sponsor. And just the way he, what's the right term, like the way he supports and accepts Georgia and is there for her. And she hates being read, like she always wants to be the person being like reading people. She hates being anyone trying to like figure her out, but the attention to detail he tries to take, like he tries to read her and the way she like lets him and stuff, it is just so adorable. And the drama, there's drama, there's family secrets, it has just everything you could want and more. And I was praying this is part of a series because I was terrified it was like a introduced to these characters but this is all you get. No, this is a standalone, and I'm heartbroken at that because I was just praying. I mean, it does all, like the ending is great and stuff, but I was like, maybe there'll be another book, like maybe the story will continue, but apparently this is just a standalone. And there is a small little tidbit of where like an outcome or what's happening in, I think it's the third or the fourth, oh actually technically we've already got 2 Daisy books, so like, no, yeah, sorry, it is the third or the fourth Daisy book to come. Obviously we're waiting for the last 2, and there is a tidbit. I mean, it does make me want to cry my eyes out, but there is a little bit of something in here. And I actually didn't realise Georgia is mentioned in The Long Way Home. I think she has a fling with Henry or someone, and she's in one of the rooms and she's mentioned, but literally for 1 chapter and then she's gone. So I had no idea that like she was mentioned and that there was like a little bit of a crossover. It's not a big one. There's not, I don't know if there's more to come and if she will come into the Daisy books, I don't know, but I absolutely love this one. This was 5 stars. I don't think I've said that. I feel like my explanation says it all and I feel like it was quite obvious, but yeah, 5 stars, absolutely loved this one. So I've got my Fable up. Also, if you don't follow me on Fable, it's always linked below. Please come and join. But yeah, the next book I read was Same Time Next Summer by Annabelle Monaghan. I really like Annabelle Monaghan. I've read Summer Romance and Nora Goes Off Script. I think I rated both of those 4.5 or 5 stars. I loved those two. This one, I think I rated a 3. I'm just going to double check. 3.5. this one was. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It isn't a case of like this one didn't hit the mark, but it just didn't hit as much for me. I still really enjoyed it and had a great time reading it. It's so quick, so fast paced. I read it in a day. Like, it did everything it needed to, because there was nothing I could read after following the conditions of will. And this one, I believe, what was her name? I can't remember the female main character's name for the life of me. I know he's called Jack. No, is he called Jack? No, Wyatt. Oh my gosh, I'm getting everyone's name mixed up. I really, for the life of me, can't remember her name. Oh god. Is it Laurel? I don't actually know. Okay, I actually for the life of me can't remember our female main character's name. I'm going to just try find it on here, because it's not the end of the world, but it would be Sam. Her name's Samantha. I think because Say You Remember Me has a main character called Samantha, didn't make sense in my head that she was Samantha as well. But it follows Sam and Wyatt. Sam is basically come back home because she's getting married to this guy called Jack. He's like a really successful businessman, and she's grown up around, I think it's Long Island, but she now lives in the city, and she hasn't been back home for a while, but they basically come back home to see her family and like look at wedding venues and stuff. And she doesn't realise it, but Wyatt who is her like childhood sweetheart, first love, is back, and they haven't seen each other in years since sort of like they had a bit of a falling out and things sort of just didn't go very well. So she's like back with him. Jack's very different from her, and she's realising, I think, that like a lot of her life isn't how she wanted it to go, and she's kind of just been going with things, and she thought she was doing the right thing, but in reality she's realised, actually I don't think this is the life I want. And then obviously seeing Wyatt again brings up all these emotions. So it's just a really cute little romance, and yeah, I would I would highly recommend if you need a palette cleanser. I feel like Annabelle's books are perfect palette cleansers. So the next book I read was On the Run with a Vampire. I actually read this on my Kindle, so I don't have the physical copy. But again, this was just like a short novella. I think it was like 200 something, 300 pages. And it basically follows, I don't remember their names, but a female main character, and my main character, he is a vampire and he believes she's a vampire. I picked this up based on a video I saw of Heather's. She was reading it and she said it was really like funny and just like a quick cute novella. And it basically, our female main character has a heart problem, and because of this her heart beats very slowly, and when she encounters this vampire, he thinks she is also a vampire because of her heart condition, because he can't hear her heartbeat. So he's like sat next to her on the train when they first meet, and it's Halloween, so funny enough, she's dressed up as a vampire. So he's like, oh my god, like, sorry to be in your territory and like all this stuff, and she's thinking, what a weird guy, like what is he on about, why is he saying these things? So she gets off the train and thinks that's really odd, and then about a year later he gets in a bit of trouble. He's like, I only know one other vampire in the area and it's her. So he goes to find her and she's like, what the hell, I'm not a vampire. It's just fun, light-hearted, like quick read. I think I rated it a 3-star. Yeah, I did. I rated it 3 stars. And yeah, if you need like a quick fun palette cleanser, like it's just funny, like it's the perfect little light-hearted read. So that was really fun. I then read another anticipated new release, which is Fearless by Lauren Roberts. I've tabbed a little bit of this one as well. I absolutely loved Powerless, 5-star read for me. Reckless, I didn't love as much. I think that was about a 3-star. I didn't mind it, but I just felt like it was definitely giving me second book syndrome. And then obviously the third book came out recently. This one is also in the anticipated releases video I filmed, so I won't go into too much depth, but I loved being back in the world. I love being back with like Payden and Kai and everyone. Rating wise, I rated this a 3.5/3.75. I kind of can't decide where I stand with it, because I did have a good time. The plot was really fun. However, to me, I felt like the ending was very rushed. I feel like the first 50% things were going on, the plot was developing, but it wasn't going rapid. Like it was a quite gentle pace, and it was enjoyable. And then about this 70%, loads of stuff started to happen, and you were like, whoa, okay, like this is it, this is the nitty-gritty, we're getting into like the big part. And then so much was built up, like I think probably around the 80 to 90% mark, like so much was built up, so much was happening, and then it all just concluded very, very quickly to me. I feel like the ending could have been I feel like the first part could have been sped up and then the ending could have been drawn out a bit longer, because it just felt very like whiplashy in a way. Like it was like, oh my god, so much is happening, so much has come to light, and then it was all concluded so quickly, even though, yeah, it just felt like there could have been a lot more towards the ending. I feel like there could have been a lot more towards the plot towards the end of the book, because it kind of switches slightly. But I did still really enjoy it. I love Peyton and Kai. I love reading about them, but yeah, I just wish there were a few tweaks. I feel like the ending especially just could have been done slightly better, but nonetheless, I still enjoyed it. But yeah, it was a 3.5 realistically, because it just didn't hit as much as Powerless, and Powerless, it will always be, rating wise, throughout the whole 3 books, is like Powerless, Fearless, and then Reckless for me. Then I read, oh yes, another Kindle book. I read City of Gods and Monsters, which is a very long book. I didn't realise how long it is. It's about like 700 and something pages. And that one I rated a 4 stars. I really enjoyed this one. It basically follows, I believe her name's Diana, or actually I may have made that up. If you couldn't really tell, I'm very good at like, no, yeah, her name's Lauren. Like, I'm very good at just making up names. I'm like, that's her name. But it follows Diana. No, it doesn't. Oh my god. It follows Lauren and what is his name? Darian. And basically, I'm going to try to explain this in the best way. It's quite hard. I don't really know how best to explain it, but it's quite a modern day, like it's kind of like an urban fantasy, which is the first kind of fantasy I've read. That's an urban fantasy, sorry. And I really enjoyed it. The only thing I will say is like, it is very long. Like I feel like it was slow, but it wasn't. Like I was still wanting to pick it up, which says a lot about the book, which is why I rated it a 4 star. Like even though it was so long, I was still like, oh, I want to read it, I want to pick it up. Whereas normally if it's quite long and it's quite slow, like the plot doesn't move at an amazing quick fast pace, then I'm like, oh, I don't want to pick up, I don't want to read it, I'm bored. But I was still wanting to pick up, I still wanted to read it, and I found it really interesting. But it basically follows, like, Darian is like part of these dark slayers and Lauren's just like an ordinary girl, and there is like witches, there's vampires, there's demons, there's dark slayers. Like if you want every kind of thing in a fantasy, I would suggest reading it. But it basically follows, like, she ends up basically getting a hit on her head. This happens at the very start of the book, literally like chapter 1, so it's not really a spoiler, and I'm pretty sure it says this in the summary. But she's basically like leaving this nightclub. It's dangerous to leave, like go out and about on your own in the evenings, because there are like these demons that come out, but her and her friends can't get a taxi. So they're walking back, a car pulls up, they try to take her, they end up taking her friend instead because they can't get to her. She's like, I'm just an ordinary human, why the hell does someone want me? Like, why are there bounties, like these bounty hunters after me? And then I think like a day goes by, this other bounty, who is Darian, our male main character, is like employed to go and get her. He picks her up and then realises she's human, and he's like, why is there a massive bounty on your head? Like, what have you done? And she says, I don't know, I literally have no idea why people want me. And he thinks like, this is odd, I'm gonna like keep hold of you, and then we'll figure it out. So like she ends up going back with him, and they both work together to try and figure out what is going on, why these people want her. And it's kind of like a kind of mystery in that sense. But there's loads of other stuff that happens in between that. I've given a very brief overview because I don't really know how best to explain it. There's just so many moving parts in that book, but I really enjoyed it. And yeah, 4 stars. I would definitely recommend. I will definitely be continuing with the series. And then I read All Roads Lead Here by Mariana Zapata, I think that's how you say her name. This is the first book by her I've ever read. Also just the best, easiest type of book to read. This one was long. For a romance, this is nearing, it hits 500 pages. I rated this a 3.75 because I enjoyed it, but there were a few parts where I was like, we've been doing this for a while. It does span over, I think it spans over at least a year, I believe. But it was just like, yeah, it was, what's the right term? Drawn out. I feel like it could have definitely been shorter. But again, I still enjoyed it. I still had a good time. But there were definitely parts of me that were like, okay. So it basically follows a girl called Aurora, and she's moving back to, where is she moving back to? I actually can't remember. She's moving back basically to like a small town where her and her mum, when they were younger, her mum had passed away when about a year or 2 ago, I think, and she basically is trying to like travel the world and do all these things, and her mum loved to hike. Her mum was actually actually went missing when she went on a hike and they never found her. So I think she went missing around there. I think I got that wrong, I'm so sorry, got my brain. I believe they used to live where she's going back to, like they used to live there for a bit, or they used to like vacation there. Her mum then went missing, never been found since, and since she passed away, Aurora, as she's gotten older, is like, do you know what, I'm gonna travel, I'm gonna do these things. And she comes back and she decides to like attempt all these hikes and sort of just like build a new life for herself, because she's been just in a bit of like a rut. She's been in like this weird impasse in life where she's like, I don't know what I want, I don't know what I'm doing. So she decides to come back and she sees this like garage, what's the right term, like an annex kind of thing, advertised on like somewhere like Airbnb, and she's like, perfect, that would be great. She books it, she turns up. It then turns out the son of the dad who owns the property put it up without his knowledge, and the dad's not very happy about it. He is our male main character, his name is Rhodes, and it sort of starts out like that, and then she ends up being allowed to stay, and yeah, you'll see their relationship develop, but it is slow burn. I love a slow burn. I love it, I love it, I love it. I eat it up every time. The tension, the angst, the banter, the yearning, like anything like that I love. This was definitely slow burn, like insanely slow burn. And there was a point where I was thinking, am I making it up that like the male main character is the male main character? Like, is there someone else that's going to pop up and I'm going to think, oh, I was under this impression, but it's actually this one. But as a whole, I did really enjoy it. But I would say it is a long one and there's a lot that happens, but you still are interested. Like, I loved Aurora, I loved Rhodes, he has a little boy as well, I loved him. Like, all the characters I loved, I just felt like it could have been shorter. And then I read The Song of Achilles, and this one I think I rated a 3.5. I did really enjoy this. I have no knowledge about Greek mythology, so when I first started it I was a bit like, what the hell is going on? You don't really need any knowledge on it, to be honest. I read it fine, I still enjoyed it, but yeah, at the very start I was like, am I gonna just be lost throughout this whole book? But no, it is very, very good. I also was unaware this was a gay romance. I had no idea it followed two guys, and that is the first time I've ever read a book like that, and I actually really loved it. I loved it and I loved them. I thought they were the most adorable two people in the world. Their interaction, their banter, the story of like how they like came together and all of that kind of stuff. I just loved it so much. And it basically follows, what is the kid's name? Pelusis? So you've basically got Achilles, and then you've got, oh no, Patroclus. I don't know if that's how you say his name. I just called him Pat because I was like, I'm butchering this. So I'm going to call him Pat for the sake of this video. But basically follows Pat and Achilles. Pat basically, I'm not going to say like too much, but he basically gets exiled because of something that happens, and Achilles' father basically welcomes in exiled kids and like anyone that's done wrong because of his upbringing. I think he made certain mistakes in his past, so he basically lets them come and stay with him. So Pat ends up going to where Achilles lives, and then they end up forming like a bit of a friendship and they get really close, and then there are like trials and stuff, and not trials, sorry, but there are like wars happening, and Achilles is basically, there's like a prophecy about him, and he'll be like an amazing fighter, and he'll be like the best person, the best Sparta, I guess. I think that's right. And yeah, he ends up going away, and then he takes like Pat with him because he's like, this is my right hand man, like I want him there with me. And just their romance and their love for one another, I mean, it ripped my heart out. I was crying at one point because it was just so beautiful, but it is heartbreaking. But I would definitely recommend it. I feel like it is such a good one to read. I wish I'd loved it slightly more, because part of me was like, I'm enjoying it, but it just didn't quite hit like me personally, but that is just me. So this one was a 3.5. And then lastly, we have come to the last book, which is none other than Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. This is another one that is in the reading vlog that is out, so again, not going to go into too much detail. I would also just like to say though, this is my most prized possession because it is signed by Emily Henry herself. That I just look at it all the time. Anyway, this one I rated, also sorry, can I just quickly, before, like, how cute is that yellow? Such a cute book on the inside, and just like the edges, obsessed. I rated this book a 5 star. I absolutely loved it. I love all of Miss Emily Henry's books, and this one was no different. I had such a fun time with this. If you're unsure about what it sort of follows, it is very similar to the Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, sorry. Couldn't think for the life of me what that book was called. In the sense of you follow, God, I really need to remember names. What was her name again? I swear I do actually read these books. Oh my god. Alice and Hayden. Don't know why I always forget the female main characters' names, that's really bad. But it follows Alice and Hayden, and they basically are both journalists, and this big socialite from like back in the day has sort of not spoken to anyone, has been hidden away, no one knows where she is, and she's been like that for about the last 20 years, and then all of a sudden she decides she's going to write a biography, and Hayden and Alice are both given the opportunity to write it, and they've basically been set a month to interview her on different days each of the week, and then she'll pick one of them to go ahead and write the biography for her. So they sort of meet at this point where they're like competing against each other, and they're very different. Alice is very like friendly and bubbly and always happy and joyous, whereas Hayden, he's not like, it's not the reverse where he's rude or anything or like grumpy, but he's just a lot colder, he's a lot more reserved, and it can come across as rude, but you really see him open up. And as they sort of go through this process of like writing their biographies, and obviously they've both come from, I think he came from New York and she came from Los Angeles, so they've obviously both come here, they're staying here for a month, and you see them like interact together, obviously not showing any details about the writing process, but like they'll go for dinners and stuff, or like they'll explore because they're both in this new place, and it is just so cute. And then you've also got Margaret, that's the lady who's doing the biography, by the way. You've got her story, and it was just so interesting to me. Like normally I feel like if you said to me there's the romance, but then there's also this plot of like hearing this woman's history, I'd be like, I wouldn't care for the woman's history, like give me the romance. But I was encapsulated by like all three people. Like I loved hearing about Margaret, I loved her story, I loved figuring out that the whole mystery of it and the plot and everything like that, and then I also loved seeing Hayden and Alice's romance blossom. It is definitely not as romance heavy as other books by her. I think a lot of people have said that, don't go in expecting like high romance. I still loved the romance, I was still here for it, I had such a good time, I loved it, and I just loved how different it was. I've not really read a romance, like obviously I've read the Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, but that's not a romance, but like having that and that plot hole, that whole like mystery biography plot line, and then also having the romance, I just really enjoyed it. So this was another 5 stars. So I had a very good month. We found 2 5 stars. I read 4 of my most anticipated releases of this year. As I said, proper thoughts and feelings are in the vlog, so reading vlog story, so please check that out. But yeah, that is everything I read in April. A very good month for me. Hopefully more months like this, because I've enjoyed it so much, and especially just the new releases that really made my month, because they're pretty much all like top authors for me, and just having new work from them. But yeah, I would definitely say obviously the standouts of April was Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry and The Conditions of Will by Jessa Hastings. If you're going to read any books from the pile that I've read, please look into those. And yeah, let me know if you've read any of the others. Let me know if you plan to, or if there's anything you think I'd like based on what I've read this month in my ratings. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I will see you again soon.